You are listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank, your partner in possible.
It's 21 questions presented by our friends at Macables. I am very excited to be doing this show with Tucker D. Franklin. Tucker, I don't know the last time we did this together.
It's been a couple months, or a month maybe.
It's been a minute.
The last time I did 21 questions was with you, and it's been a while since I've been on 21 questions. So, yeah, I'm glad to be back. I broke out the shades. If you're not watching on YouTube, that's a darn shame if you're not watching this on YouTube, because I broke out the shades. 21 questions is always a different vibe than all the other podcasts. You know, we're just answering the questions that you, the people, a little bit of Bane action there. Give it back to you, the people, have wanted us to answer here. So very excited as we are in the absolute dog days of June. We're in the dog days of sports in general. I don't know if you saw this, Kent. There's like at least 100 days until like MLB playoffs, like until basketball starts again, until hockey picks up. NFL still over 80 days away. You got a lot. There's a long way to go before we really get anything of importance coming up here.
We're a little over 70 days though from college football starting.
That's true.
Week zero is rapidly approaching.
I don't know if you've looked at the week 0 schedule. I have. Those games on there are absolutely ludicrous. Navy plays Notre Dame in Dublin, Ireland to open it all up, and that is an absolute sickos game if I've ever heard of it at 2:30 p.m. I'll be watching it for sure.
Yeah.
But Navy, we're sending the Navy to Dublin to take on Notre Dame. Two peas in a pod right there.
You get Vandy, Hawaii.
Yeah. Oh, which by the way, that game last year, I know Hawaii was an absolute shambles. You're gonna get this podcast is gonna be longer than it needs to be if we start talking college football. Hawaii was an absolute shambles. Made Vandy look like a good football team, and people thought maybe this Vandy team's gonna be good. They weren't. Hawaii sucked.
Vandy beat the brakes off Hawaii. Yeah. It was ridiculous. I drove by Hawaii Stadium last week. Actually, that sounds like a flex. I'm sorry, but I saw their stadium. It was pretty cool. Out there in Oahu, San Jose and USC.
Yep, good one.
USC is a 30-point favorite in that game.
Yeah, well, weird for a Big Ten team to be playing a team from California. That's kind of odd.
All right, let's pick all these games. Here we go. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I can't wait. It's gonna be a fun football season. Anyways, to ask questions for 21 questions, you have access to the KCSN Discord, which you can get by subscribing to the KCSN Substack. You get you can for like $30 a year. You sign up for the annual membership. You get a year worth of like our premium content, our premium film reviews, all of our written content there at KC Sports Network. You get access to the KCSN Discord, some other stuff too. So yeah, if you want to do that, you want to ask questions for this show, that's how you do it. We'll start with Keith McLean, our guy. How big of a bullet did the Chiefs dodge by not signing Juju given his knee problems that are now being reported? I have some thoughts.
Go ahead.
Okay, because I mean, I don't think the knee stuff's new. So I don't think I think the Chiefs probably knew the Chiefs knew some stuff about his knee. So I think there's a reason that they were disciplined in the numbers that they were willing to give Juju Smith-Schuster. And the reason he's not a Chief is because they were willing to be, disciplined in those numbers. Juju was able to go find some money elsewhere. Good on him. Congrats to him. But I don't think the knee stuff didn't pop up in June. And I think it was there during free agency negotiations. So, I don't know if it's a bullet dodge as much as it is they were disciplined in what they were willing to do with Juju.
For sure, and I want to add to that. I know the numbers that we heard that the Chiefs were kind of willing to go, as you're alluding to, was much lower than what he got. So the Chiefs were well aware of the knee injury, obviously being the team that he was last on. So I don't think that it was something that they were like, oh, we knew nothing about this. There's probably a reason that the Chiefs didn't pursue him as aggressively as we all anticipated them to, because they probably knew a little bit more than we did.
I'll be honest, I was a little surprised at the number Juju got.
For sure.
When it happened. And the number of years he got, to be honest. So Grayson, Jaspers, he might as well be the third. Like, he just might as well be like third member of 21 Questions, because he's like the moderator for this show half the time because he's asking so many good questions. But If Chris Jones isn't on the team next year, what is the best case scenario and a realistic worst case scenario? Yeah. What do you got?
Wow, there's a lot to unpack. So the best case scenario is you're gonna have to have a lot of those rookies that you got, with BJ Thompson. He's gonna have to probably quickly mature a little bit. You're gonna need Felix Enrique Uzama goes from a spot where, I know he's an edge, but he goes to a spot where he can pretty comfortably not have really a whole lot of expectations to a spot where, all right, you're gonna have to produce a little bit for us to get some output on this defensive line. And it puts a lot of guys in positions where they are absolutely neat. They now have expectations where they didn't have expectations coming in. And I don't think that's a spot where you want to be. I don't think that's a spot where Brett Veach wants the team to be at all. I can confidently say that. But I think that, listen, he's still under contract, right? He still has this year on the deal. I don't think that it's going to come down to him not playing a game this season. He's not going to Le'Veon Bell it and sit out the whole year, even though he did threaten to do that his first time during the contract. I don't think he's going to do that this time around, but I'm not to that concern level yet. I haven't even thought about Chris Jones not being with the team. I don't know about you, Kent, but like that hasn't really crossed my mind yet.
I think he might be asking about 2024, and if that's the case,
Gotcha.
So I'll just do it from like a 2024 perspective. I'm not worried because they will get a return for Chris Jones and they will have more cap flexibility to make more moves to make the rest of the team better. I think Chris Jones is a very difficult player you can't replace him.
For sure.
You're going to have to, I don't even know if you can entirely replace him like in the aggregate, with the assets and the resources. Because there's not a Patrick Mahomes throwing to a Chris Jones like they're, with Tyreek Hill, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right. There's not a Patrick Mahomes aspect to it.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So, I'm not going to be worried because this team figures this stuff out all the time, and they figure out and they make hard decisions and they set hard lines. And if they can't make things work within those lines, then they're not gonna do it. So I'm not scared. I think the worst case scenario is the Chiefs don't win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But the best case is the Chiefs continue to win Super Bowls. Like I don't know. It's not a doom. It's not the end of the world if the Chiefs don't get something done with Chris Jones. By what Brett Veach says, I'm pretty optimistic something's going to get done. But it's not going to be the end of the world if they don't.
I will say this too. I know a lot of people have not been very keen to the idea of trading Chris Jones, and I'm going to say they don't think they should do it. I don't think that's what they should do, but his value has never been higher, and it's bad business to not think about that at least, right? To a guy who's never been, I know his value is really, really high to this team as a whole, but if you're going to talk about trading a lot of draft capital for the future, and you're going to need to save some money on that side of the ball anyway, if you want to give Patrick Mahomes more toys to play with, it's at least something to talk about. I don't think they should do it, but that's why I bring it up.
I don't think they should do it this year, but obviously if they can't come to an agreement with them, just tag and trade him next year is the move.
Yeah.
Like get this year out of him, get a contract year out of him. He'll have a great season, hopefully. And if you can't come to an agreement before the season starts and you're not going to negotiate in season, deadlines make deals, you can't get a deal done. Tag and trade him next year. Get your return. You might win another Super Bowl while he's on the way out. Like who knows?
Right.
Right. So don't trade him. They won't trade him this year. There's no chance they'll trade him this year. I don't think. But tag and trade next year if they can't get something done. Yeah, makes sense. Bones Jackson asking if the KCS crew is arriving in Germany and who that crew be. I don't know. I've
not even thought about that.
I don't know if there's plans for anybody at KCSN to be out there in Germany, as sick as that would be. So, that's like 6 months down the road for us. But I'd tell you what, I've not got to see Mahomes play ever.
Imagine.
Yeah.
The first game in Germany.
It'd be pretty sick. Have a bratwurst in one hand and a Chiefs foam finger in the other. Just Mahomes!
Foam fingers.
I don't know.
Those are good. I got to check out. Next time I go to a roast, I'm going to check out how the inflation rate, how much of inflation has affected foam fingers. That's going to be my new study.
I have a Royals question, but I'm going to ask you right after this break.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network. Entertain, educate, inform. KC Sports Network.
Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Come to the KCSN golf tournament.
Yes.
July 29th. You can sign up. There's a link in the description of this show to sign up. A foursome is $500. You're going to get tacos from Mission Taco. You're going to get all kinds of bourbon. If you went last year, I believe Chief Bearcat will be still cooking some stuff up.
Yep.
It is going to be an absolutely great time. There's an auction. I think there's a chance to win a shot at $1 million. It's going to be a great time. We're going to have a lot of fun. So feel free to sign up a team. Link is in the description of the show. It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay. Isaac Hugh, if Kent were to do a TikTok series like Tucker's Seltzer's reviews, what would it be? It might be smoked meats in Kansas City at a variety of barbecue spots.
Has anyone done? I'm actually kind of upset that I haven't thought about that. I don't know if anyone's done that yet. I don't think that reviewing. I should eat a brisket as fast as I can and review and immediately give it a rating.
I think you should do it barefoot or barehanded.
Barefoot,
not barefoot, barehanded.
Hell.
No. Tucker Franklin bare hands half a pound of brisket, eats it immediately, gives it a review.
It's a brisket that hasn't been sliced yet, right? So I have I don't know if I could do barehanded because it'd probably be pretty hot.
That wouldn't feel good.
And so I'd probably want those gloves. Maybe do those black rubber gloves that every good barbecue place has those black rubber gloves. Every time I'm out at the K and I see Chef Jay just slicing up that brisket, he's got those gloves on. But
I might have them as an amateur barbecuer, smoker.
You probably find them wherever you find your sauces, and I just pick up the whole brisket and I just take a bite out of the side.
I will tell you that is an extremely expensive clout chase.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I would, I think it would be
the beer bats are expensive too, by the way. I don't want
Tucker, we got to talk about your bits, man.
Yeah.
Some of these bits are going to get costly. We're going to have a discussion about these at some point.
I think I've got
you start funding these beer bats.
I think I've got my beer bats actually off to the side within reaching distance.
Oh my gosh.
We don't have to look at them.
I think it'd be smoked meats.
That's a good one. And I know I think Christian commented and responded to that question with the TikTok of mine that you were actually in. When I was doing the juju dance and you were just staring at me while I was doing it. Which
the people have zoomed in to use the grainy version of me just staring at you with what are you doing?
Right. It's the video they screenshot has been saved from TikTok and then onto Twitter and then reprocessed again as they zoom in. So it's just the worst quality picture. But yes, that's a good one. I think smoked meats is a good one. I got to think of less expensive bits. You're right.
The beer bats, $30?
Yeah, I mean ballpark 27.
Ballpark. I see what you did there.
Yeah, but I mean. Listen, I've got expensive taste, champagne taste on a beer budget. But hey, this last one I chugged this Busch Light Peach. Very good, by the way. Very good.
I was gonna ask you before the break though. How many Royals games have you been to this year?
By the time this comes out, at the time of recording this podcast, I've been to 19. I've seen 3 wins. Yeah. No, I've been to 19 Royals games. By the time this podcast comes out, I think I'll hit my 20 or 21st. So yeah.
So you have plans to go out this weekend?
Yes, sir. I gotta get that Nicky Lopez and R.I.P. Vinny Pasquantino, but I gotta get that bobblehead. He's fine. He's not dead. He's just on the injured list.
Okay. No, that's impressive. What have the vibes been?
Vibes not good usually, honestly. But the thing about me, I like watching. I really do love baseball. Baseball is one of my favorite sports. I've recently rekindled my love for baseball. I think the MLB kind of biffed it a little bit during COVID, only having a 60-game season when they're the sport that relies on social distancing the most. So it's like it could have been easily done, but nevertheless, then they had a lockout right after that. They kind of soured everybody's taste about baseball. But I think the rule changes with like the bigger bases, no shift, and the pitch clock have been so much better, and you get to see like actual hits.
Yeah, the Royals have really benefited from it.
Yeah, so no, this is the thing, Ken, is I've started going to watch the other teams. So I've went to Wave series because I was like, I gotta watch these guys play baseball. I only went to one game in the Cincinnati series, but I really like how Cincinnati plays. I think they're a really good team. Got to see Ellie De La Cruz, probably the biggest young guy in baseball, number one prospect actually, I think, in baseball. So I've seen a lot of good guys. I saw Moose's return to Kansas City. That was cool. So I'm really just going for the other teams and the giveaways at this point.
Joe for Chiefs night.
No, that was like can you believe that? I didn't get that towel. I'm gonna be scouring eBay for that towel. But no, I didn't go for Chiefs night, sadly. That was my mother's birthday. Shout out my mom Nicole.
You said unfortunately my mom was born this day.
Yeah,
Shout
no,
out my
she
mom.
turned 27. So again, shout out to mom for that one.
Christian asks, Christian Gumminger, what can the people expect from you and Tucker on the beer cart at the Tacos and Bourbon Golf Tournament? I have been informed by a reliable source, Christian Gumminger, that we will be the golf cart drivers.
Well, here's the thing: is there's going to be 2 beer carts from what I've heard, and Craig and Maddie are already on the other one. So it's you and I on one, Craig and Maddie on the other one. And Christian Gumminger, I don't know if this is, I don't know. He messaged me and we were talking about something where he's been working hard to try to get something on our beer cart provided to people. But we'll see. We'll see how it is. He's been working hard.
I've heard some rumors about some things that could transpire from our cart.
Yes.
And let me just say, I will be driving. I will be driving. You will not be.
Oh, no. No. You will not expect me to be driving that golf cart. I get uncomfortable driving golf carts to begin with. So I think when we were golfing out in Vegas and I think BJ was like, will you drive the cart? I was like, I don't know if I want to, because there's something about me being the youngest one there. I feel like I shouldn't drive the cart. I don't know what it is, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely driving. I'm definitely driving it, but it could be shades of day 3 of the draft, from what I've heard.
Day 3, day 3, best day, by the way.
Grayson Jaspers also asks what position groups are written in Sharpie for the Chiefs. I don't know.
Quarterback.
But no, I'll tell you what. I don't know if Shane Buechele's the Chief or not.
Do you think he gets sniped, is what you're saying? Or do you think that they don't they just don't add him to the roster?
Either. I mean, he's got to not get added to the roster. I mean,
Right.
They got some tough decisions, and life gets a lot easier if Shane Buechele's not on this roster. So
that is true.
I mean, they're gonna have some tough. Is it 7 wide receivers? Is it 6 wide receivers? How many defensive backs is it? How many linebackers are there? How many offensive line are you keeping? There's a lot at play. So I'm not positive that there is a group entirely in Sharpie. Maybe I was gonna say no. I don't think maybe defensive tackle. Defensive tackle.
Yeah, I think you can. I think you're safe with that.
Chris Jones, Derek Nottie, Turk Wharton, Keandre Coburn. Move on.
Yeah.
I don't think they can keep more than 4.
Right.
I think linebacker has some flexibility. Corner has some flexibility. I mean, safety.
Linebacker was one of the first ones I thought of, and I think it's only one guy at the bottom. I think that there's one guy that you could flip flop with that I think it makes you hesitate from safety or from linebacker. But for the most part, linebacker's pretty solid.
Yeah, but again, it's not Sharpie. That's the point.
Right, for sure.
Safety: Brian Cook, Mike Edwards, Justin Reed, Shamari Connor.
But Deion Bush. So
I kind of think Deion Bush is on the outside looking in. The more
I think so too. But somebody reminded me the other day when we were going through the safety room and I didn't mention Deion Bush. And I said I forgot about Deion
But
Bush. So
you
I
haven't done
appreciate
the
you commenting.
well, you haven't done the math like I have on the KCSN Substack when I did my 53-man prediction. By the way, Grayson, that was me because I accidentally didn't put my who the author was, and Grayson just commented, "Who wrote this?"
Wait,
I thought it was because he hated it, but I literally didn't put the byline.
So what did it say? I think okay.
It's just nothing.
I vaguely remember seeing that, and I remember seeing. I was like, "Oh, is this like a team collaboration post? Is this what it was?"
No,
or,
it just didn't do it. We have to take that up with Substack.
Yeah.
Matthew McNabb, if you could trade for or sign one player strictly for reasons besides their football or their ability to play football, who would you like to see on the Chiefs?
That's a really good question. One player, sign or trade, right?
Sign or trade strictly, but for reasons beyond their ability to play football.
Well, my first reaction was Jason Kelsey, just to have the Kelsey brothers on the same team together, and I think that would be incredible. And imagine, I know the Chiefs have a really good offensive line, but adding Jason Kelsey to the offensive line would be pretty sick. Or just have him play tight end too.
That's a football reason though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Non-football. I think for non-football reasons, the Kelsey brothers together in KC is a fantastic choice. I think that's a great one. Besides their ability to play football, I don't know. I think you nailed it. I think that is clear cut the best one.
That's the only person I think I'd want on the team for other reasons. That's not a football related reason, right? I mean,
yeah. I think, because you could say, "Oh, Joe Burrow," but that's just to keep a team. That's just
a football reason.
It would be funny to make Joe Burrow the backup to Patrick Mahomes. Just humble him.
Or two quarterback set.
No. No, we're not using him. No, we're making him sit there. We're making him sit there. But there's still a hint of non-football or football reason because you're weakening the Bengals.
Right.
I don't know. Mike Denny asks what undrafted free agent after Deneric Prince makes the biggest impact this year.
After Deneric Prince. Because Deneric Prince, we all know, is going to have the biggest impact.
I think, let's pause. I think he's right.
No. I think so. I know I sounded very sarcastic.
No. I know. No, I wasn't. I wasn't coming out of you. I know it sounded like it, but I think he's right. I think that is the correct answer. You hear where Jerick McKinnon's talking about him, there's some optimism there. Big dude, fast dude, kind of runs hard. Big, fast, runs hard. Kind of sounds Pacheco-ish. Yeah. They had some success with him last year. So looks like Deneric Prince is already getting run with the first team too. You saw him coming out of the backfield with Mahomes on one of the the MVS highlight, I think, or something like that. Deneric Prince was in. So this is what you do in June, Tuck.
Man.
Is you overanalyze one singular play and you're like, okay, Wanye Morris. I see a photo of Wanye Morris at left tackle. Deneric Prince is running an angle route out of the backfield on this play. This is what you do.
Creed's rookie year. I can remember in June we were looking at the photos and saying that ball's being held with a left hand.
Yeah.
Creed Humphrey's the center in this, and I know for a fact that's Joe Tooney over there. We were doing all that stuff. It's that time of the year. No, it's really interesting that I keep thinking about that running back room. Holy cow! And again, you mentioned what are they going to do with the roster? What are they going to do with all these running backs that they have on their roster right now too? Because they've got a lot of wide receivers. They're going to probably want to keep an extra lineman. I would assume. Maybe they don't. They probably don't keep 4 tight ends this year is what I would assume happens. But it's all we're all going to wait to see on that one. But no, I think Truman Jones is the first one that comes to mind as a guy that can impact this team. Both guys, Deneric Prince and Truman Jones, Eric Galko very high on both of those guys. So I talked to him on, I think that was Wednesday's episode of KCS and Update. So if you missed that, we talked about him and just kind of some stories about, I just asked Galko, how did you know? What was the moment that when you were talking to these guys, you're like, okay, yeah, this guy gets it. And he just told some stories about that. And I think to hear those stories about some of these guys that, you might not have heard a whole lot about coming out because they went to Harvard and Tulane, that you might not have, maybe Tulsa, not Tulane. Might not have heard a whole lot about. So
I got a couple.
Go ahead.
Look at the linebacker position.
Okay.
You got, I think Isaiah Moore or Cam Jones. One of those two could wind up making this roster. either as a 6th linebacker or maybe taking Jack Cochran's spot.
Yeah.
I think it depends on what you're looking for. I think Isaiah Moore is a very strong early down run stopper. Not in the mold of Darius Harris, but in the mold of like the Chiefs got a 2-down run stopper as a backup linebacker like Darius Harris. In the same vein, that's Isaiah Moore, a 2-down run stopper. I think he's a better football player than Darius Harris. Could have some special teams value, smart player, high-level communicator for North Carolina State. Cam Jones, more coverage ability on the lighter side, a little bit more, coverage ability. So depending on what they're looking for, those are the two guys at the linebacker position that I think could make sense as undrafted free agents. We are going to take a break. We will be back right after this.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network. Entertain, educate, inform. KC Sports Network.
I like this question. Would you rather replace Creed Humphrey with Tucker or Nick Bolton with Maddie? Consider the athletic injection into the team.
Creed Humphrey's an incredible athlete and an athletic ability that I can get nowhere close to sniffing. When I was actually out at the Royals game when they were doing the big slick softball game, I was there for that. Creed Humphrey was participating in that. He can get around. He can move. He's pretty athletic, and I think he went to first to home on a single or something like that. Granted, there's 60-foot bases, but he's getting around. He's scooting, and I think you've seen some clips too from MVS's softball thing. But I think he's a better athlete than a lot of people give him credit for. So I do not want to put myself in that position.
Tucker, I love you to death. You're one of my favorite people on this planet, but there's just no chance I'm swapping you for Creed.
Well, you shouldn't.
Like the amount of damage that can be done to the Chiefs is much greater with you playing center than 100%. Maddie playing linebacker.
100%.
Like it's just you just don't mess with the offense. Maybe, you take Maddie out or you take Bolton out, you put Maddie in. It's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. Sorry, Maddie. It's going to be rough. But it can't be worse than the 2018 defense. So we're fine.
Well,
you never say it can't get worse. The Royals are living that right now.
Yeah.
Tank the Frank asks, what's your favorite rumor being floated around the team right now?
Oh, wow.
And, you got,
rumor.
I think there's some legit Justin Ross excitement.
Yeah,
it's real. I don't know how real it is, but I think there's some level of belief and optimism that he might make this team. I've heard some Nico Remigio love.
Yes, so have I.
So that's a fun rumor, but it's really hard to forecast that receiver room if you throw Nico Remigio in there. So
crowded room.
I think it takes it means no Richie James is what it means, and you're keeping 7 receivers. So the math's really tricky. The math's real tricky.
Right, because you got to think of your. I just kind of want to talk through this real quick, just to think about there might only be one position. Well, there might only be one spot left for wide receiver when you start to think about the guys that are kind of already in this. Because you got MVS, Sky Moore's making the team, Kadarius Toney's making the team. Listen, Justin Watson's probably making the team. Just the way that he is, that's 4 wide receivers already. So then you really only have 2 spots. Traditionally, have 2 spots, I should say, because they could keep 7, but that's 2 wide receivers, and we're talking about Richie James, Justin Ross, John Ross, Nico Remigio, and I think there's one more wide receiver in there too. You're talking about 5 guys if it 3 max spots. The math isn't mathing, as some would say.
Lee 87. If the contagion of the Royals stink sets in like the bubonic plague across Kansas City and Mahomes is unable to play this season, knock on wood,
Lord,
what would you handicap the Chiefs' record this season as?
Oh my gosh. Well, Blaine Gabbert is the chosen one.
Oh, stop it. I have a take.
Okay, go ahead.
I think it'd be higher than you. I think it'd be like 7.5. Actually, maybe Vegas handicaps it a little lower, but the Chiefs beat it.
I
Like if
think the
it's,
defense keeps him in a lot of games.
I think Andy Reid keeps him in a lot of games.
For sure.
So I'd 6.5. Maybe the line might be 6.5, but I bet you that I'd take the over on that because the Chiefs just figure out a way to win football games, and the Chiefs have put together 95-yard drives with Chad Henne and won games with Matt Moore.
Yeah.
And won games with Chad Henne, and they're just gonna do that. Like that's just what they're, And honestly, like, love Blaine Gabbert, but like, let's say this happened before the season started, they maybe they're calling Carson Wentz, something like that. To they're gonna. I don't even know if Carson Wentz would start, but you know what I'm saying. Like
Blaine might beat out Carson at that point.
Matt Ryan, like,
but yeah, no, there's
like
guys out there.
Matty Ice, what's up? Like somebody. So Tom, you want to come compete against you own? Yeah. So I don't know. I think I'd take the over. It'd probably be low, but I'd take the over because Andy Reid.
It'd be so you think like the expectation would be you can't be 500 anymore, but it'd be close to that 500 watermark. Yeah,
I think so.
Fair.
Christian asked if if Tucker will have more beer bats this season than the Royals have wins.
I hope not, for my bank account's sake. Beer bats and the Royals have wins. They have 18 as we're recording this podcast. That's a lot. That's a lot of stadiums to get to. I don't think I'm going to get that many. So, and my wallet probably hopes I don't get to that many either.
He might just be referring to Royals beer bats, just period.
Well, I do have 3 Royals beer bats. Why do I have 3? That's a great question. And I have got a Cardinals one and I got a Cubs one. 3, 4, 5. I have 6.
Well, yeah. So Royals wins. Grayson asked if you can explain the supplemental draft and if it could be relevant to the Chiefs. So the supplemental draft is essentially the status of a player's changed between January 29th or whatever when the draft deadline is and now. So sometimes it's eligibility. There's an application process for these guys that they'll go and they'll apply to the NFL to be a part of the NFL supplemental draft. And there's varying circumstances that have happened, like Terrell Pryor was famously one. What's interesting about the supplemental draft is it's not a traditional draft. Obviously, there are 7 rounds of the supplemental draft, but it's all done via email. It's all done through a bidding system where teams email the player and the round they're willing to draft them in. And so they'll do round 1 and there'll be no round 1 claims. They'll do round 2 and the waiver order determines who the team that gets them is. So if you're the second highest, not waiver over, I think it's just the draft order from last year, essentially. So like if the Texans put in the bid, it wasn't the Texans. Who had the first pick?
Well, the Panthers did, but the Bears actually.
The Bears. So the Bears. So if the Bears want somebody in the 4th round and no one's bid on them in the first 3 rounds, they'll get them. So all these players get put into this pool and they do it over email, and they'll email their player in the round that they want them in. And they'll compile all these, there's normally 1 or 2. If there's normally not players, like maybe one. But they'll email in their bids or whatever on specific players. If you're awarded that player, like, the Bears in round 6 claim Tucker Franklin, they lose their 6th round pick for the 2024 draft. So it's borrowing on future draft capital to select a player. I don't know the last time the Chiefs put a bid in on a player. I remember Adonis Alexander was a player, I believe, that got drafted. Did Sam Beal get drafted?
That's a name.
I think Sam Beal got drafted a few years ago. I think there's a receiver from Purdue that might get a look. I would be stunned if the Chiefs made that move. So I don't think they're adding more bodies to the receiver room, personally.
Well, they just signed that Cal wide receiver too. So I mean, they've got a lot of wide receivers in the building.
Lee 87 just asked what my favorite food is right now.
What is it?
It's Chef J.
It's very good.
Still Chef J. The bacon burn-ins from Chef J are just incredible. They're perfect. Like I can't explain how good they are. Chef J's in the West Bottoms. I talk about him any chance I can because I love his barbecue. Like it's that good, and it's getting some love, and it's getting all the love it deserves because it is just exceptional. So
shout out to K too, by the way. That's the only time I've had it is at Kaufman, which is probably not the best place to get it, right? You should get it at the source, but yeah, it's there. It's really good. Even eating it at a ballpark is still very good.
KC from KC, top 3 sugar fixes for each of you.
Top 3 sugar fixes. So my favorite candy is Sour Patch Kids. I'm a very big Sour Patch Kids. I'm a very big gummies, like just like anything that's like a sour gummy. I love those gummy bears, gummy worms. Yeah, I really do love a Starburst. Starbursts are good. So I'd probably say Sour Patch Kids 1, Starburst 2. I don't know after that.
Flip those 2 for me. I think it's Starburst and Sour Patch Kids. Is chocolate count as a sugar fix?
I think so, and that was the other like train of thought that I was having. But I traditionally like fruity sweet things rather than savory chocolatey sweet things.
I've been leaning fruity sugar lately. But I mean, yeah, give me like a dude. Okay, there's these Costco has these coconut covered, chocolate covered almonds.
Whoa.
And it doesn't sound like a sugar fix, more just like a more
sounds like an Almond Joy.
It's like an Almond Joy, but it's like an advanced, like higher quality version of one. It's like a grown-up Almond Joy, which is why it doesn't fit the sugar fix to me. Like, sugar fix feels like it's,
right,
fruity sugar.
Right.
But man, those Costco almonds are ridiculous. Favorite PlayStation 1 game?
This is really hard. That was like the first console that I had ever played, and I had Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, I think it was 2. And I played that all the time. I also played Madden 98 on the PlayStation 1 a whole lot. That was my first Madden game that I played. And I believe I had the first, like, the MLB 98 as well. But Tony Hawk Pro Skater is going to be one. I can't remember if it was 2 or 3. I think it was 2. I'll have to look at the covers of the games, but I always love those games.
Have you ever played Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1?
Let me look up the Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Because I know I can see it in my head. Like, I can see the cover. I just don't know what number it has.
If you don't know the joys of playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1, I don't know. That is easily the best Tony Hawk game. It's not even close. The OG original one is the best. It's probably my favorite PlayStation 1 game. Cool Borders 2, also great. This is going to sound weird, but I have this soft spot in my heart. The first PlayStation I ever got was from a garage sale. It was like, so, it wasn't like a new one. It was from a garage sale. And they gave us these Pizza Hut demo discs.
Ooh.
With the PlayStation. So we had a couple games to go with it. So it was like you got a level of like 10 different games. So you had, I think Tony Hawk was on there. Cool Borders might have been on there. I think like Pa Rappa, the Rappa was on there. Spyro was on there. All these different, you just got a little taste of all these different games. And it had this commercial for the New York street corner pizza at the beginning of it that you had to watch. It was great. So yeah.
So no, I looked at all the covers. The one I had for the PlayStation 2 was Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, but the PlayStation 1 that I had was the first Pro Skater.
Good. Okay. Yep. That's a fantastic. My brother got so good at the first level. So we would use Jamie Thomas.
Yeah.
And he would do like a special move up the ramp, and then he'd do a special move over that pipeline that had the box above it. You know what I'm talking about? So you do a special move over that, and then grind on that pole, and then grind all the way around the base, and then do another special move onto that little pipe that was over there.
Yeah.
And he'd do that like 3 or 4 times. Like literally, like I've never seen someone score as many points as my little brother was able to back in the day. It was nuts.
It's such a good game. Like I'm probably gonna get on my Xbox right now, see if it's on Game Pass, or like if I can find a version where I can play Tony Hawk Pro Skater, because I think about that game and MX Unleashed. I know that's a PlayStation 2 game, and I tweeted about MX Unleashed the other day, where you just ride on like dirt bikes and dune buggies and all that stuff. 4-wheelers is so fun. I don't know why, but I love those 2 games.
The best game on PS2 is NBA Street Volume 2.
Yeah.
Or NCAA Football 09. That's the one with Deshaun Jackson, right?
I think so. I played a lot of 07 because I remember 07 was the one where you could take your Road to Glory and put it onto Madden 07 and like carry it over. I'm a big career mode guy in terms of video games. I love the career modes. I know some people like the franchise, the building modes, or like the Ultimate Teams now, especially. I like the career modes. Does that make me a narcissist because I want to just like put up stupid numbers in these games?
I'll say there's nothing more satisfying than turning MLB The Show on beginner mode and breaking Babe Ruth's record.
Oh, it's the best, man. So I've been playing MLB The Show. I've been streaming it on KCSN's Royals channel, and I've played a Road to the Show, and I make a few of them, right? I make a few different careers. One is just like it's on beginner mode. I can just, when I get bored, I just go and rip dingers on that one. The other one is to test myself a little bit, and the other one is just kind of like, I'm tired of pitching. I want to hit now, because I just do a little bit of everything on my career modes. All different players too.
I'm good pitching, but I don't want to do it because it takes too long. I like the instant gratification of just hitting bombs.
Yeah.
So I'm always a hitter, and I don't field. I don't care if I field, but I break Babe Ruth's record, and I hit over 500, and I just shatter every record, and it's fun.
Make sure you get that 56 game hitting streak.
Yeah.
You get that 57 game, and then like
that stressed me out. The hitting streak stresses me out because like sometimes they'll pinch hit you. And you only get one shot.
Yeah.
It's brutal. What TV show? Tank the Frank asks, what TV show movie release are you most looking forward to for the rest of 2023?
Movie release / TV show. A lot of the things I was looking forward to have already happened. I think You Should Leave was a big one, and that one's already happened. I was actually genuinely looking forward to the Mario movie. I know you guys make fun of me for liking that movie. I think it's a really good movie.
Hold on. I'm not making fun of you for liking it. I just watched it earlier today.
It's a good movie.
It's a fine movie. I think they could have done better, but it's okay. I think the plot was lacking and the storyline was lacking relative to other movies in that genre, in that, Illumination wheelhouse. They've written better stories with that.
For sure.
With Illumination. That's all I'm going to say. Love the movie, fun, callbacks, all that stuff. Sorry.
No, you're good. Minions Rise or Gru, another one, a good example of a really good storyline. I haven't seen that one yet. I probably will.
Yet.
See, this is what happens. I get bored and I don't want anything too complex on the old brain, so I'll just go and watch like an animated movie, like a children's movie, because it's just like comforting, probably makes me think of when times were simpler. But the other thing that I was really looking forward to, Oppenheimer. I'm really looking forward to that movie. It's won a lot of awards already, and because it did the old indie film festival circuit. And I think it's going to be a good movie. The Barbie movie comes out that same weekend, and I don't know if you've seen Tom Cruise. He's a little upset about Oppenheimer and Barbie coming out at the same time because they're taking all the IMAX theaters away from Mission Impossible. So Mission Impossible is missing out on the IMAX theaters.
Tucker, you ready for the low-hanging fruit?
Yeah, sure.
Quarterback.
Oh yeah, that trailer was enough.
Yeah. I think the one I'm most looking forward to, Winning Time, coming back.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
That'll be fun. That'll be a lot of fun, and I genuinely can't wait to watch Quarterback. I'm sure we'll break it down whenever it releases here on KC Sports Network. That's it for 21 questions, though. Thank you all for your questions. Thank you for supporting KCSN. For Tucker Franklin, I'm Kent Swanson. We'll catch you later.
Thanks for watching this production of KC Sports Network, the fastest growing sports media network in Kansas City. Check out these videos that feature our team of more than 15 former players, insiders, and analysts, bringing you the best Chiefs coverage you can find. Entertain, educate, inform. KC Sports Network.